Hi everyone. I just wanted to make a follow-up video to the videos I made yesterday. I got some really constructive and useful feedback from James and Keith in particular, so I really appreciate that. And yeah, so I wanted to sort of come at it from a slightly different angle and just sort of try and like get my ideas across in a way that sort of makes sense in the context of Older Yet Faster. So firstly, I guess Keith's feedback about posture was that all of this posture is sort of taken care of with the initial exercises, and I don't disagree with that. I think that he's right. Like when you do that up and down bouncing, you generally are naturally upright, and I've seen in other techniques people start by like jumping off a box and landing, and then teaching them that that's your balanced landing. So yeah, that's definitely true. I guess I'm just trying to help people who don't have the benefit of having a coach on hand to watch them and give them like individual tips, and just try and provide some alternative ideas of ways of approaching it to try and get there quicker and make progress. Definitely I found that I got stuck for a while and I didn't really have any additional sort of prompts or things to work with, so I'm just trying to provide a little bit of that. So I think that these sorts of discussions are valuable, and anyone else who has ideas that would like to suggest those as well, I think is like the more conversation, the better it is for the people in the Facebook group to learn and improve. So yeah, so that's why I'm throwing out those posture tips there. And with regards to the hands up high, I know, so James thought that might be a little bit excessive and cause stress in the shoulders, and I definitely think, yeah, you need to be relaxed. You don't want to be like all uptight and really bunched up. You want to be relaxed, but I think you can still be like this and be relaxed. So just take the stress out of your shoulders, but still keep your hands up. And to validate this sort of approach, I think try running with hand weights, and I know that some people do that, and you automatically find if you run with hand weights down here, it's more work, but if you hold them up here, they don't move as much, and it's much easier. So try that. But yeah, I mean, whatever works for you. And my hands aren't always like really up high. Like I think I carry them more like this when I'm running, but yeah, find what works for you, but I'm just suggesting like a good place to start. And the other part that got some criticism was the soft knees. So I said, yeah, have soft knees on you when you start. And I guess what I'm trying to get away from there is people really sticking their leg out and really locking their knee. You definitely don't want to lock your knee. But definitely, I guess, as you progress, I think like having soft knees to start to get a feel for the bouncing motion is useful. But as you progress, you may not need to have your knees quite as soft, and you can bounce a bit harder. So yeah, so I guess I'm trying to get people away from really locking their knees out and landing with a straight leg, and sort of encouraging like some flexibility and bounce in the knees so that you can really do that bouncing action. And finally, with regards to the exercise, so I talked about doing like a squatted walking sort of exercise to try and get used to moving with a bounce and like not moving your foot forward. But Keith suggested that maybe by doing that you might still put your foot forward like this rather than just bounce onto it, which is a fair point. And I think like when I thought about it more, I have a slightly different approach, which kind of is a similar thing but thought about differently. And it's kind of like one of the main things that I think I didn't get out of Older Yet Faster, but I have since learned from optimizing my form using like so Stride Power Meter has an estimate of leg spring stiffness, which is very useful to analyze like how much bounce you're getting, and you can see it with like your ground contact time if you have any of that running dynamics with a Garmin or something like that. But basically the primary action that you want in your bounce to really get a powerful bounce to sort of like optimize, and you know, I think it's worth learning from a early on perspective, even if you're not looking at optimizing, just because you might not know this action even to engage your glutes at all. So it's all about engaging the glutes. So the action is really driving up. So driving up using your glute muscle like this. And there are running drills which I use, which teach you this. So it's like a hop and a skip. So hop, and then each jump is that driving action. So that driving action, I think, is really the key to this form, and it's really how you engage your glutes and you get that forward power, and it encourages you to have your whole foot on the ground, because you can't drive powerfully from your butt if your heel is not on the ground. So where this is leading is, so with the driving action, you can think of it and getting a walking sort of like a slower speed start without. So the bouncing is great, but when you're bouncing, you can think about this driving action. So I think like having a slow, sticky bounce, focusing on that driving action can be valuable, because it shows you how to engage your glutes. So what I was going to suggest from a walking perspective, you can really just focus on this drive up, but then just drive forward a little bit and then land on your other foot, and then do the same thing again. So you're kind of just doing like slow, sticky single leg hops where you're really doing that glute drive and getting a little bit of forward momentum from leaning forward, and then just landing. So drive, land, drive, land, drive, land. And then as you get used to that, then you can just use that in your warm-up, where you're doing the alternated legs and leaning forward and going. Or you can do it like, drive, 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 and then just slow that down into a shorter, stickier one. Sorry, less sticky, and then finding your natural rhythm where you're doing the driving action but shorter periods. And then that becomes something that you can do as you're running, and that's how you get like maximum bounce, is that driving, and you use it it encourages you to keep your foot on the ground, like the sticky foot technique that a lot of us really find useful, because you can get more drive if you keep your foot on the ground longer, and then that will actually end up translating so that you drive instinctively with each step, and it will actually reduce your ground contact time and make you a more airborne runner, as Keith says. So yeah, interested to see what you guys think of that. So try this driving action, just give it a go and see if that helps you get a feel for using your glutes and getting away from the stepping forward. So driving and jumping up and moving forward that way. And a couple of other ways that you can mimic this action without necessarily running, if you want to cross train, is on an exercise bike. If you put it on really stiff resistance and stand up, that is the same action when you really have to push the pedal down. That's the same driving action. So you can do it that way. And the other one is a scooter. So if you get like an adult sized scooter and you scoot along, it's not so much the pushing foot that does it, but it's actually the supporting foot that is on the scooter. That bending and up and down motion as you push also engages that glute muscle. So something to try for those of you who are interested in trying some other things, to try and really get the muscles working in the right way, and get your brain engaged about the way that we are trying to run and away from the walking action. So something to try. And again, welcome your feedback. So thanks again, guys.